proper chatbot, no, like the way we do in industry, it takes more than 2 year 3 year, the how we get the data, we iterate the process again and again. So here I am going to show you that, or in fact you guys also be doing along with me, that how the basic chatbot has been created with your own data set and with some already pre-built data set. And then I'll request you to basically try it on by yourself, even after the bootcamp, and make it a very big project that you can keep it anywhere, so it look like okay, you guys have actually experienced on the industry. So I'm going to discuss everything, from the pipeline chatbot, NLP basics like text processing, how the word embedding has been calculated, feature extraction, because whenever a chatbot interview you are going to give, they will definitely ask you the NLP basics. So I'm going to cover that as well. And the RASA framework I'm going to cover, because that will be the major thing we are using for our chatbot implementation. Apart from that, dialogue management is also very important. And I would say this is the heart of the whole chatbot development. If you know the dialogue management well, you can build any chatbot. So we are going to discuss this thing in the very detail. After that, we will build our own chatbot. It's like from the third day, day 3, we will start doing hands-on implementation. And then we will see that how the data has been integrated with the database, how Docker has been used, and how the project has been deployed, basically, how to integrate both the things together. And apart from that, we are going to see that how to integrate different frameworks. I would say messengers like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Telegram, all these messengers with your chatbot. And you, if you want, you can integrate it with your website as well. That also I'll show you. And after that, because we are going to cover the RASA in this bootcamp, apart from that, there are many other frameworks though, but these are the 3 frameworks that generally are asked in the interviews, that is Google Dialogflow, Microsoft Fluis, and Amazon Lex. So I am going to give you the brief overview as well. Like if you want to use it, how will you go ahead? Then it's completely on you that how you practice. If you want, we will help you even after the bootcamp as well, if you want to implement and work on this. Okay. So this is the whole process. And what is the expectation from your side? I just expect one thing from all of you, that please make this session interactive. It should not happen that I'm just speaking and you guys are listening, because that also make that session boring, first of all. Second thing, if you guys interact now, then more questions will be asked, then people will get more knowledge. Like okay, for suppose there is one question that didn't come in my mind, but if you ask, then maybe other peoples will also get benefited. Okay, so for asking your doubts, you can raise your hand or you can speak directly as well. And also, please, we will provide you the session recording after the session itself. So I just recommend that before coming to the next session, please go through the session recording. The reason behind is, in 1.5 hour, initial 10 minutes, I'm just going to ask the questions from the previous. I know many people find it weird, but this is very important, and otherwise you won't be able to recall whatever is being taught last day, and then it will be completely missed after 6 days or 7 days. Okay, so every day for first 10 minutes, I'm going to ask the questions, whatever we have discussed, in like what did you understand, and if there is a use case study is given, then how will you go ahead with that. And then once hands-on practice will be started, please practice. Okay, we will be providing the complete code or any other documents we are going to use throughout the bootcamp. Second thing, many people ask actually before joining this bootcamp, that what is the difference between your bootcamp and the YouTube tutorials that we can see on RASA so many times, right? So yeah, it is different, and you will get to know once you will complete this bootcamp. But I'll just suggest you, if you want, you can definitely refer the YouTube tutorials. They are just basic implementation of RASA is given in general, that what I have seen so far. So here I'll suggest you that go through the, not just with the RASA or the particular framework, go through the NLP concepts, understand. Then only you will be able to build everything from by your own itself. You don't need to go through the libraries, or you don't need to take the help of anything. You can do it by your own as well. Okay. So today's agenda also, okay, one more thing I would like to discuss, because what happened when we have put this chatbot opening, we have kept that internship opportunity also. So briefly for 5 minutes, I'm going to discuss that internship opportunity as well, like how it will be, what it will be. And then we will go ahead with the main processing pipelines, conversational AI. And also I'm going to discuss about the job opportunities as well, because you should be aware of what is the job market in this chatbot development and what are the skill set that you need to master. Okay, then only you can apply to so many jobs. So recently what I had seen, more than 2000 jobs were available only in India. I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the outside India. So you can think, if you are thinking about the around the globe, it will be more. For freshers also it will be there, and for the senior managers also it will be there. So the only thing is roles will be changed, like the management part will be changed. Okay, so let's discuss about the internship opportunity. So basically it will be a 2 months internship opportunity that we will be providing after this boot camp. The only thing is how you will get selected for this internship process. First, we will roll out the Google form at the last day. You guys have to just fill up that, okay, I'm interested, because many people might not be interested, I'm assuming. Okay, so you have to fill up the Google form. And at the last day, 10th day, if you have seen the agenda at the website, we have kept a small assessment that will be completely a use case study, because, and that will be based on the what is being taught in this boot camp. So for the 10 days, whatever you have studied, whatever use case we have taken, based on that, similar use case study will be given, and you guys have to come up with the your solution. Last time I had given a little tough problem in the last boot camp. This will be easy this time, and quite easy actually, completely based on how you are getting the concepts in the 10 days. And then once you complete it, we will see all the assessment. Based on that, you will be selected, and for the 2 months there will be fixed tasks that we will give you for per month wise. And also you will have to work on the chatbot development itself, but through the different framework, through the different methods, on the similar kind of thing you will be working on. Okay, or maybe the particular specific part of a chatbot development, because chatbot is not a small project. I'll show you what how vast it can be, or what are the different parts of it. And even if you are working on a small partner, that will be taking more than a month or two. Okay, so I'll show you that as well. So you will be working on the end-to-end project development, and also you guys have to mentor the other students as well, if there is any. So this will be the internship opportunity. You guys can fill up the form that we will roll out at the end of the boot camp. Okay, now let's discuss the job opportunities. Is this clear? First of all, can you please let me know?
Yes.
Okay. So let's discuss the job opportunities and skill set required. So these are the few screenshots that I had taken from the LinkedIn itself. So if you see this, this thing was completely for the RASA, where they wanted the 2 years of experience as an IT professional. And this is, I think, from Tech System Company. You guys can check on the LinkedIn. And here they expected the expertise in RASA. Okay. And also many people required this Google Dialogflow, Amazon Lex, Amazon Connect. These are the services that are provided by the Amazon itself or Microsoft itself, because you know what happens in the company, they do not have enough time to do the research for 2 years, 3 years. They want immediate solution. So for that, they generally prefer to use already built framework, because they give the better accuracy. But if you are going towards the research side, then you have to tweak the framework, or you have to build everything from scratch. It completely depends like what the company requires. But you can see dialogue management is very important. After that, knowledgeable with the API management solution. Why API management solutions are important? Because that will help you to deploy your model or your project. Okay, so that also is important. So generally I'm going to show it with the REST API. Okay, other is SOAP and WSL also. These are the protocols, how we send the data over the web. So these are also important, but you know, it's not necessary that you have to be pro in everything. If you have worked on one thing in a deeper way, that will be sufficient. Okay, so if you say the Python, JavaScript, Node.js, they have kept everything. JavaScript, Node.js is not required, honestly, for being a data scientist. And the understanding of NLP and ML algorithm you can see here. Okay. Apart from that, one company asked the bachelor's degree, 2 years of experience, and B2C digital engagement they have asked, because I am assuming whatever requirement or the task they are going to have, domain knowledge is important. If you have, suppose you are doing the marketing project, you have never done marketing, then you won't be able to understand the real time challenges that is faced. So how will you be able to create a chatbot which can help you in the marketing segment, right? It is practically not possible. That's why sometimes people require that kind of knowledge or domain understanding for the longer or I would say the senior expertise. Okay. Apart from that, you can see ability to analyze chatbot performance reports and other Dialogflow, Boardgate, Rasa, all these are the frameworks. Node.js, Python will be a plus. Okay. And then experience in integrating with SQL and NoSQL databases. So generally, like I have used NoSQL database in my practical implementation. That also I'll discuss. Once just overview I'll give you. But in our real implementation, we are going to use SQL. Okay, I'm getting few questions once again. If someone coming from non-tech background but have a degree of management in AI, which she is eligible for chatbot development, it can be possible, but in that case, no, there will be not technical role will not be assigned. I feel that person either has to demonstrate their experience in technical direction, that okay, they have done some coding or something like this. Is this clear? Any other doubts related to the job opportunities you guys can discuss in quick 5 to 10 minutes?
So, Arpita, yeah. one question, like,
please mention your name. Please mention.
Devi Prasad here.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm working in banking industry. Okay. So, I mean, frankly speaking, working on machine learning or AI related stuff in banking is a very difficult task. And banks will be the last to implement all this. Okay. So one thing, if I want to claim 2 years or whatever, 1 year or 2 years on chatbot working, I mean, how exactly this works actually?
How exactly this works? As in,
yeah,
like,
you understand my point, right?
What kind of work will be assigned to you? You mean to say?
See, for example, if I want to put experience on chatbot and apply for, apply outside, right? Right. I mean, how exactly it works out, right? Banks will be the last to implement all these kind of things, and it is like a open secret, right? How exactly it will benefit me, and in what way I can put my resume so that I can select for other companies.
Yeah, I am getting you. Actually, I also worked in the banking domain, even though I was in a service-based company. So I tell you like how I put and what kind of in my case, no, my CV never get rejected, and the reason behind the way I have put my projects. Okay, so generally what I have seen, they if you are in the banking sector, in the banking sector there are multiple requirements for the chatbot development. Like suppose if there are so many policies that bank follows, okay, so if a human is going through all the policies and the documents, it will be a quite cumbersome task. So in that case, we can implement the chatbot so that chatbot can go through all the documents and provide the relevant answers. So manual tasks will be removed. One case. Second thing, bank also do the verification process whenever it assigns the loans or any other task or credit cards or something like this. So that can be also be done with the help of chatbot. Third thing is, apart from the customer service is always it's a sector where chatbot can be used in every domain, not just banking. So first, if you are saying that you are going in the banking domain and you are going to see that okay, I have the chatbot development experience, how I can proceed, then I would suggest that in that case you have to tweak your chatbot development expertise in such a way that it's a blend of banking domain plus chatbot technology. that's what I generally do. That okay, if a company is from a, like, let's suppose you are applying for the HDFC or ICICI bank, right? So in that case, if you show that how you have solved their problem with by making a chatbot for them, then they will be happy enough to take you in. Like, that's what they just see that because in every company the work will be definitely different, it's not same. Even for the chatbot development, they only want to see that how can you utilize the chatbot for their sector or for their work, and also what from implementation side, what else or what new you can bring. Because rule based chatbots are very common nowadays. Even for my website also, I implemented one application there. I had just created a structure where I just put up the questions and then answer, and then created a net kind of a structure. So that is very common, but you have to mention that what difference you can create, or how can you use machine learning to predict, not to answer just rule based questions. That will be enough. So in that case, that's how you can mention it in your resume, that you solved this problem that was very crucial in the bank, and that was the solution that you proposed.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, if the portfolio regarding the Python and Rasa is strong, will the person is eligible? Yeah, definitely that person will be eligible for the chatbot developer position if your Rasa and Python is strong. But apart from that, you will need some other expertise as well. Like, you should be good at the databases, you should be good at the deployment part, because mostly companies nowadays are focusing on this side, deployment side. Nowadays, like, research is not being so prominent, rather than ML ops, deployment, Docker, these things, like making the model into production is like important. So apart from the Python and Rasa, you have to be proficient in that as well. That will be actually a plus, not mandatory, but plus. Yeah, someone raised the hand. Please ask your doubt.
Yeah. Hi, Arpita. Good evening. My name is Anand Kumar Gaud, and currently I'm working as a social media account manager, like for one of the beauty brands. So how can I integrate this chatbot into the marketing of into digital marketing? Like, we have WhatsApp, Instagram, Google Business. So can we do that using? Can I be like? Will it be possible once I attend this boot camp?
Yeah. May I know, like, what is your experience, or like how long you are in the social media marketing?
It's been 1 year now.
Okay. Like, I would suggest you, yeah, we can do it. In fact, in our company, we are doing the same thing. We are trying to develop a solution for marketing. Okay, with the help of all these AI ML stuff. So you can connect with me separately, and we'll discuss what are the possible things. But yeah, we can. If you ask me, like, is it possible? Yes, it is quite possible, and there are so many things in the marketing, because like, since last 6 to 7 months I explored this marketing domain, and I realized it's not just like answering the questions, like if this Google Analytics platform will be better or something like this. In social media marketing, what happens generally, that you can get the competitor analysis, you can get that what other companies are doing, how their social media page is going on. Okay, and maybe you can do other, like, how much traffic your website is getting. So all these things you can definitely get, but these are from the analysis point of view. You are not getting anything from the prediction side. It's like, even after so many tools are available, consultants are available, you guys have to go to some other consultant manually. They will sort this out and will let you know the decision, that okay, this is the area that we have seen, and you have to go ahead with this process. So we are also trying to automate this process with the help of ML and AI. In that, chatbot is mandatory. It's like kind of SaaS platform. Okay, I have let's suppose I give you one example. We are an edtech company, right? We are running since last 6-7 months. So suppose I want to launch a new program, and I want to do the marketing so that more and more people will be aware of, or I would say I want to do the brand awareness. I know that what is traffic I'm getting on my website. I know how the social media handles are getting response from the different people. So, but still, I still don't know that should I go for the paid advertisement or should I go for the influencer marketing? What will be the cost? And even if I decide something, I don't know that what will be the my result. Even if you talk, like since last 2-3 months, I have connected with many consultants, and they are like, we can tell you the probable result, and also that is not guaranteed. Just have a patience, something like that we generally hear, right? So with the help of AI ML, or I would say NLP especially, you can build some solution which can help you in the decision making, not just analyzing the thing. That can let you know, okay, this is your situation. It's been 6 months. This is your aim. This is your goal, and these are your basically customer segment. And based on this, if you do marketing at the Facebook, or you do the marketing on the Instagram, this is the proportion, or this is the ratio you will get. So my suggested method is you go with the Instagram, because the population, the people who are on the Instagram are of your customer segment. Something on that sort you can definitely build, and that will be, I think, the best marketing solution if you are working on that. So we are
Yeah,
also
okay.
trying to do that as well. So marketing is a very niche segment, I would say. The many people are still dependent on the manual process, not on the automated one. If you
Got it.
are working on that, that will be a plus.
Great. Okay. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, then I am going ahead with the softwares and libraries that we need to be installed. So Microsoft VS Code or any other Python IDE will work. So because I'm assuming many people will not be having the Windows. So we are going to share the list, what you can install. It's just you need to run your Python commands. Or if you don't have anything, you can run it on your CMD as well. Okay, command line prompt. Then you need to install Docker, and the Rasa is the library that you need to install. That command also we will provide along with the instructions how you are going to install it. And then Spacey, generally nowadays Spacey get installed with the Rasa already, but maybe if you are doing installation of old version, might be you have to install it separately. That also we will provide. Apart from that, you need Putty. Putty is SSH terminal that will connect your laptop to the server that you can consider. So that is a very small software. And apart from that, you need to install the MySQL database, because we are going to integrate it. Because till how long you can work on the manual sentences or the Excel sheet, you at the end you will need some database that you can connect directly. Okay, so now let's start with the conversational AI, what it is. So chatbot is just a part of this whole conversational AI. It's all about how a human talk, communicate, or enter in the conversation, either in the spoken way or in the written language, right? Even, if you guys have read some novels, also, like, they also mention that how we human differ from the animals, because we have the power of gossiping, we have the power of imagination, we can talk about anything which doesn't even exist. So suppose if we provide such kind of capacity, which is not possible so far, but if we can reach to that level, then bots can also do that. And I am assuming, like, you guys have heard about this Facebook thing. Facebook had developed one chatbot kind of thing, and then their bots started talking with each other in their own language. Are you aware of such kind of thing? It happened few years back.
Right, they have even shut down for
after that they have shut down their
Yeah.
systems because they started talking in their own language. So this kind of thing also may happen. So like it depends on us, like how do we use it. So let's talk about the business analytics, because anyway we have to run our business with the help of that conversational AI. So if you talk about the chatbot, right, because pandemic happened, after that everything went online. Either it's a retail business, it's a medicine, or it's anything, even something which was not people have not imagined that this will be online, that is also online nowadays. Okay, so everything is online, then people want customer service as soon as possible. They don't want that you ask something now and the people reply in the morning. That is not possible, right? So for that we need chatbot anyway. So that's the only reason it is rising. And these are the few use cases where a conversational AI or the chatbot can work. In that, I would say either it's answering a question or detailed explanation if we have to provide any resolve. You might have called Amazon or Flipkart or any other retailing services. So sometimes what happens, you are in the anger because you have not received the right product, and you just talk to the support person like in any language, right? Or in the some abusive language as well sometimes. So that is not acceptable for that person as well. That person also, it depends on the mood. But suppose if you are talking to a chatbot, it will be easy to communicate. There is no emotions are added in that, right? So that also a plus for the chatbot. Now, like apart from that, a chatbot can pay your bill, make your reservations, schedule your meetings, or maybe communicating your brands, anything you want, you can definitely conduct with the help of this chatbot. So as I mentioned, what are the benefits of this using this conversational AI? First of all, 24/7 availability you can have. You don't need additional manpower to provide such facility. You can increase the customer satisfaction because there is no mood change, no rude behavior. Third thing is the customer engagement, because all the time availability is there, so customers engagement also increased. And also you can showcase your new products and services at any time with the help of chatbot, even when you are not available. So now these are the very general terms that I think I hope that all of you might be aware of it. But let's discuss the part of NLP. Okay, so NLP is basically divided into three parts: NLP, natural language processing; second is natural language understanding; and third thing is natural language generation. So in terms of chatbot, suppose you have to make a chatbot which can answer your question, or you want a personal assistant. Okay, how will you go ahead? Like, what will be the first thing that should come in your mind if you are going to design everything from scratch? So you have to think in that way, how a human brain works. Okay, once you know that thing, you can definitely go ahead with that. So I would say, suppose someone asks you this question: hey Google, how did the stock market do today? You ask this to your Alexa bot. Okay, so if that person has asked this question to you, then how would have you have considered this question or thought the answer about it? First, your mind would have analyzed this question. Okay, what it is, you will try to understand what it is about. Then you will focus on, okay, what are the things that person is talking about? Okay, what are the focus words, I can say. So this process, when we are trying to break down the sentence and the process in our mind, that is called natural language processing, where we are just trying to process the data that we have. Second thing is the NLU. So in that case, it is like, okay, I understood the stock market and today are the two major factors or two more important points, I can say, that I have to focus. But now what is the intent, or what is the intention of saying this thing? What user wants to know actually? Okay, so I would say here, how is the thing that user wants to talk about? Sorry. So how is the point where we want to know, like, how this thing has to be done? So this is called natural language understanding. So it is like I'm trying to understand what is being answered. I'm not saying exactly what will be the answer, but how that question has to be answered. Okay, that is called natural language understanding. And the third part is, okay, I understood your question. Okay, I understood what is being asked, but now how to reply, or what will be the answer of this question? This is called natural language generation. So once understood these questions, if you are asking to the bot, then it will crawl the web or maybe to the data set, and then it will, whatever is the appropriate answer, it will answer. Okay, like how our human brain does. But in our human brain, we do it so fast that we do not even realize that our brain process all these three steps. But if you are going to do, or you are going to design a bot, you have to go through these processes, three steps. And now one more thing I would like to convey from the very beginning. I'm not going ahead with how RASA framework works. I'm going to show you how a chatbot works, what are the steps you have to apply. Then we will compare it that, okay, in the RASA, you are going to work like this. these are the things that we had discussed, and in the RASA you are going to apply it like this. Okay. So now let's discuss the application architecture. Okay. So suppose the user asks a query. So first of all, there might be two methods to ask a query. Either you can ask in the voice form, or you can ask in the form of text, like the way we do the chatting in the different applications, right? So there are two ways. So first, if you are making a chatbot, you have to design a flow. Like this is called the pipeline. This is called the pipeline, that how it is being designed. So first you have to think in that way, that what will be my input, what types of input it can be. Then I'll think that, okay, just forget this example for now. I'll not focus on it, otherwise, 1 second. Okay, let's focus on this only. Suppose you are making a chatbot. First, you have to think about the input. What input you are going to see? Either speech, that will be in the voice, or in the form of the text that you will feed into your some system. Now, because your machine has to understand it, now you have two ways. Either you will process two kinds of input in two different ways. Voice will be processed in different way. Like you want NLU, you want to understand that language, that question has been asked. So either you process the voice, or second thing is you process the text directly. Or the third way is you can convert either of them into one. Like you can convert voice into text and then take the complete text always. Then only one pipeline will be needed. You will always process the text. So before processing the text, you are putting one more component which will convert your voice into text, and then you are going to go ahead with the text only. This is one way. Second way is either you can convert everything into the voice, text to voice. Okay. And then you are going to go ahead with the NLU part. Now, let's suppose if I am approaching the problem with one way, that is, I am converting the voice into text. Okay, I have converted into text. Now you tell me what will be the thing. Okay, yeah. Now you tell me, based on these three parts, if I have converted all these either voice or text into the normal text format, and I'm sending it to my system or my model or my code, what next step I have to follow? Please answer.
I think it will be NLU, right?
Yes, it will be NLU. NLU, but you have to process the data first. Like I would say NLU will start at that point where I have the clean text. Right now, I have just converted the voice to text. I have not removed any unnecessary noise. Noise is not necessary that it will be in the form of voice only. Noise, it means some words which are unnecessary, which are just creating ad hoc for me. So I'll just clean my text. Okay, I'll pre-process the text. I'll extract my feature. And also one more thing, like how my model will understand the text data. I have to convert it into some number, something like that. That also be converted later on. But first you need to clean the data. Then it will be go in the NLU model, where it will try to understand what is being asked. Okay, like how or what is, then how will you do it? Don't think in the AI terms, ML terms. Just tell me in the normal way. If you have to try, you want to try to understand the question, what thing you want from that sentence. I'm not saying how you are going to do it. I'm saying if you want to understand what is being asked, then how will you go ahead? What thing that you will focus on?
We need to understand the intent of the query. What exactly it is speaking about.
Yes, we have to understand the intent. Okay, and to identify the intent, basically it's like if I'm talking about the bot, for a human, an intent can be any type. Intent means intention can be any type. I can ask how it is being done, like process, or maybe I can ask something which is directly answered, like what it is, or maybe I ask something like based on the definition. Maybe I want to understand some definition, or maybe abbreviation I want of something. So as for a human, it's a very long thing, but, or I would say it's a very wide network. But for bot, if you are going to make it a scratch, define some intent. Okay, or I would say make a classifier which can help you to identify that, okay, this is the question, or this is my classifier, this will predict this. So if you are going to build a classifier, what will you feed in the model? There will be some text, there will be some labels, because you are going with the supervised learning, and then you are going to train your data to identify the intent of next upcoming sentence which was not in your data set. Is this clear? Like how I'm going to go ahead with the identifying intents. How will I identify? Is there any other way possible? Yeah, you can use any machine learning algorithm, but anyway, you have to build a classifier which can identify your intent. And for initial phase, you have to mention the intents. And if you want to make a very big chatbot, then definitely then also you have to provide all the types of intent that are possible. Okay, so like in my last company that I had built such classifier, so in that we had kept 6 to 7 intents that we kept changing on once we were able to get the queries. And the data that we had taken, actually I had manually collected the data, so it was huge. And like around 16 to 17,000 questions we had kept. And if you want just questions, you can get it on the Squad dataset that was provided by Stanford University for question answering system. This is an open source database. So that all from there also had taken few questions I had manually formed. And in that also there are some challenges. I'll discuss it later once I'll discuss the intent part. Okay. So, okay, I have identified the intent. I just understood that what kind of questions that it is. And I can do one thing. Let's suppose if you have divided the intent in 6 parts or 6 classes. Someone has asked one question. Do we have a general database for use the general questions? You have to create the database. There is no general database available. But if you ask the questions, because whenever you are going to design a chatbot, let's suppose you are going to do the banking sector, for the banking sector, you will need the specific questions. It's not possible, honestly, to make a very general chatbot. Otherwise, it will take very long time to train the model, to consider all the type of intent, entities, everything. So I would not say that anything is already available. You can make it, but okay. So let's suppose you have created the intent. Okay. You understood the flow. You have classified it. Now what will be the next step? I understood that, okay, this is being asked. Let's take the banking example. My user has asked what types of credit cards you guys provide. Okay. So I understood that that person is asking about the credit card types. And I have to answer all the types of credit card that our bank or company is providing. Okay. Like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. This answer I have to form, that I have to generate this answer, but how it will be? Any guesses? Any idea?
So depending on how the information is classified, we'll have a set answer. Like if we say, okay, credit card and type. So using these 2 keywords, the response will be accordingly set. Okay, that we have 5 types of cards like platinum, premium, gold, whatever it is. Like just giving an example. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not sure it's right or wrong, but
so it's completely fine. At least you're like putting some efforts. Okay, this kind of thing will happen, which is actually true. This also we do, because if we that's how we do now. When we do the Google search, we just try to find out, okay, what kind of credit card that particular bank provide, and we see, okay, these are the things that the Google answers. This is completely fine. That rule based. This is called rule based, where I have defined some set of answers for a particular type of question. Okay, this is correct. Any other answers?
We can have a database query regarding this, and we can try to answer.
But a database query too you can have, because that is from the NLU part. Okay, a query you can have that, okay, I have show me all the credit cards. Like you can mention it in the form of SQL. Okay, that it will return you the credit cards. But what if it your database does not have credit card details? First question. And second thing, even if you have all the credit cards, then how will you know that these are the actual answer has to be asked. Like in the credit card might be possible. You will match your query to the database. Okay, I have mentioned somewhere that these are the credit cards. I have to reply these. But what if I have not directly mentioned the credit cards? I have mentioned just cards. Then what kind of cards? It can either answer all debit, credit, or any other food cards or whatever shopping cards. How will it know exactly? So these are the two major questions that we face. So for that also there are multiple methods. One is the rule base that one person just answered. Second thing is we can help our machine learning or NLP to predict the answers. Suppose if something is not readily available but similar thing is available, okay, then based on that we can do two things. If the similarity is high, similarities score is high, then we can fetch the exact answer from the database that was mentioned. Or if it's not there or the similarity index is not high, then I can create any other model which can predict the answers, okay, or it can form the answer. But yeah, in that the accuracy will not be very high if you have not kept very long or very big data set. It completely depends on the size of your data set, how better you train the model. So I'll discuss some pre-trained model as well, which are actually working good. So lots of things, it depends, but this is a general flow that we have to see. So if you see, look, user input you have taken from the application, then you have applied the BOAT logic, which is called natural language understanding, okay, and then it will return you the predicted intent, the parameters, and the slot. I'll discuss what is slot. Okay, just understand, it is all about you have tried to focus on the stock market today and what is being the intent, what is being asked. Okay, then if it is okay, then like is it something that is taken, that can be taken ahead, then okay, it will be passed to your execution engine, or it will search you to your database or crawl the web and submit the output. Or if no, then there will be one more possibility that you can answer, okay, I didn't get your questions. I think this happens a lot of time whenever we talk to customer support. Even I think someone tried with our bot also yesterday, and that person got reply, I didn't understand your question, please ask again, please ask again. Something like this also happened. That it depends that how this path we have followed or designed, okay, and then it will be returned to the user again. And you know, mostly I think if you guys have some food apps, they generally have, okay, what was your order, tell me the order number, what problem you faced, okay. Then after 3-4 questions, they generally say that, okay, we will be connecting you with the customer support executive, because their bot has the limitation. Their bot can't do many things because it is completely rule based, where the fixed questions and fixed answers has to be designed. Okay, is this clear? This chatbot flow is very, very important. If you are able to understand this thing, now you can design everything like by parts. First you can design this part, then this part separately. Here you can integrate your database, and then when you are sending it to the user, like here to here, then you can deploy it into the production. What is meaning by the deployment in the production? You are basically making it accessible to the user. You can't show your client that, okay, see my Jupyter notebook or see my command prompt, it is giving me the answers. You want something that has been faded over the servers. Okay, if you are at one country and someone is at another country, you can send your data over the internet. That is called deployment, right? So it's like you can have to design the chatbot into different parts, then integrate all the technologies together. Is this clear till this point?
Arpita, Karthik here.
Yes. Yes, Karthik. Hello. Hello, I'm not able to hear Karthik.
Yeah. Now I'm able to hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah. So most of the food apps are whatever we are seeing, right? So are all our rule-based chatbots, right?
Mostly.
Okay. So will we be covering on the AI chatbots also, or mostly on the
Yeah.
rule-based?
No, I'll cover both the things. Rule-based chatbot is easy to make, so you guys can make it by your own as well. Once I'll show you, then I'll
Okay,
show you if you have to train your network, how will you train? What are the pre-trained models that you guys can use? Because that's the aim. You should be able to make your own chatbot at the end of this bootcamp. So I'll show
Okay,
you
sure.
both the things together.
Okay, sure, Aditya. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Is it clear? Please ask. This is very important. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss it again in the first 10 minutes. I won't explain. I'll
Hi,
just ask.
Harpreet. Amir here. So,
Yeah.
how does the bot know that the
Hmm.
query which you ask is enough to fulfill the intent? What kind of logic is used there?
So in that case, like the way I said, it will try to match it with your database. So here, it depends like what database you have kept. You guys have searched on the Google, right? Sometimes, and you guys see how which database they use. They use the knowledge graph database. So it's a kind of mesh that where all the points or the topics or the entities that are connected with each other. So whenever some user asks the query, it try to search over the net, over the mesh. If it is saying that okay, it is enough, good enough, I am able to answer this question, then it's okay. If it's nothing is like obtained from that query, or nothing is there in the database, or maybe some or I would say it is based on the similarity index, how the similarity is being matched with the data that you have in your database and with the query. Suppose you have asked about the food. Okay, so let's suppose you have asked, once again, let me take something which has some synonym. Okay, let's take this word return. Okay, so you are going to search for the return word, and return word is not directly mentioned in your database. Okay, but there is some similar word like coming back or something on that sort is mentioned. So it will try to match. Okay, if nothing is getting matched, then it will say that intent is not being completed. Nothing like that is being found in your database, and then it will return to the user that okay, I have not found anything. Can you please ask again? Based on that, it is decided. We will see that also.
Okay, so
we will
here in
implement.
this diagram, the enough to fulfill intent points to the database or the knowledge graph.
Yes, knowledge graph or any other SQL database, whatever database you have used.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, please explain the pipeline once again. Okay, I'll just mention it again in the brief. First, a user will ask the query, which can be in two ways, either in the form of voice or speech, or second way in the form of text. Okay, so suppose if you ask in the form of speech, then either you can convert the complete voice or speech into the form of text first, then you can process the text data. You can clean or you can remove the noise. Okay, and then you can submit it to your BOAT logic, which means natural language understanding, where it will try to find what are the focus word, or that is called actually entities. Okay, so it will try to find the entities and intents, what the user wants to know, or what is the type of the question basically. Okay, so once it is being identified, then it will try to search. Okay, if there is something related to that is there in my database already or not. If it is able to find okay, this answer is there in my database, or anything similar to that is in my database, it will form the answer. For the forming the answer also, there are certain rules that we follow, like if someone is asking the types of credit card, as I mentioned, so we have to write fixed line that okay, these are the types of credit card available, which will be the fix. So sometimes we do the fix answer, or we keep in while generating the answers, and then we will send it back to the users, that is to your application, to the messengers. If it is not BOAT is not able to find anything like this, then it will say no, please, I have not understood, please ask this question again. That also we have to define. It will not automatically say like this. We have to define this rule. Okay, so this is how it is being structured. And now if you ask me like where AI/ML we can use, first of all, we can use AI/ML here at this point where I'm saying I'm converting speech to text or text to speech data. Second thing, I can use AI/ML to identify intents and entities. and maybe in the relationship as well. That will also help me to identify. Third thing, I can use AI ML here also, where I'm trying to fetch the data from the database. If it is not able to fetch the data, I can predict or I can generate the answer by our own. So these are the points where we can use AI. Otherwise, many points are there where we have to anyway use the rules like this when we are forming the general natural language generation. Is this clear now? Someone asked this question. Okay. It's clear. Anyone else has any doubts? Giving 2 minutes, please see this diagram and ask if you have any doubt.
One question, Arpita.
Yes.
In that, the red color box is there, right? Enough info to fulfill intent. So if it says no, so that loop will keep continue till you get the information, is it?
No, it is completely dependent on us. What do we want? Suppose if the user like it is not enough to fulfill the intent, right? Now it's on me. It will either I can generate a response directly and send it to the user, or I can do one more thing. I can try to find some similar kind of questions. But generally, what is being done in the chatbot, we ask user again, please reform your questions. Okay, so it completely depends on me. How do I frame it? If
Got
do
it.
I
Okay.
want this
Okay.
loop to be repeated or not?
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, should I move ahead? Please say yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. So now the very general term or layman terms I was using, right? Focus terms. Yeah.
Just before going into that, can you just tell us one chatbot which is using AI completely?
Okay, so you can search on Facebook's Blender and Google's Meena. These are the two very famous chatbots, and they have achieved that accuracy around 86%, which is very close to the human. Humans has actually the chatbots are generally being judged at how perplexed they are, like how ambiguous they are in answering the question. So they were able to achieve very high accuracy, and they had lots of features. I give you one example. Like when I'm saying you have to make a chatbot like this, okay? So in that case, you can make it into one particular domain. It depends on the database that you had set. I think one person asked this question that can we make the general? Okay, the Facebook and Google has made it very general, but they had trained it on more than thousands of TPUs, and that too 4 months. They had used all the Wikipedia's data, and Facebook used all the social media conversation that he had in their Facebook Messenger app. And based on that, they were able to do lots of tasks. Like they were able to identify the emotions, they were able to talk like a human. You know what is the some abilities of a human that board doesn't have. Right now I'm talking about the chatbot, I'm teaching this thing, but suddenly I can talk about the holiday, okay, that I had yesterday, or maybe the food I had. Okay, so this thing human has the ability that it can this is called multi-turn. It can take the conversation any turn. Okay, but boat doesn't have. If you ask this boat something like this, like enough, no, so it will say it is not enough to fulfill the intent, and that it won't be able to understand what as being you are saying, right? So Facebook's Meena, sorry, Google's Meena and Facebook's Blender, both are able to do this thing. They are able to do the multi-turn of the conversation. It can, you can suddenly you are talking about some product, and like after a certain time you can talk about some other thing as well, completely different from previous thing. That is very general chatbot. You can search that thing. And for not, I didn't find anything for the Google Meena, like open source code, but for Facebook's Blender, GitHub open source code is also available. So you guys can check that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so next is intent, entity, story, action. Actually, these are just a fancy terms that we use while making the chatbot. And I always suggest you that when someone asks you about the chatbot, if that is not interviewer, try to explain it in layman terms. If there is an interviewer, go with the fancy terms like intent, entity, story, action. It seems like you have done a lot, right? So I'll let you know that intent is something what user is trying to do or ask about. Intention basically. Entity is like the focus keyword. There we had taken example of credit card, so that was a focus word, important piece of information in the user's query. And the story is about the domain. Let's suppose if I'm making the chatbot in the banking domain, then what are the possible ways of the conversation can go, or the network or the flow structure that we design. So story is basically defined for Rasa framework, where they say all the conversational flow as a story. Next is the action. Like, okay, I have designed the flow, I have designed the entity intent, I understood all these things. Now what action I will be taking upon a specific request. If I am saying hi, then what will be my answer, as a hi or bye, like this. Okay, these are the 4 components. So here you can see these are basically a very basic chatbot structure. So suppose if someone is asking hello, okay, then hi, how can I help you? These are the message generators. So first it will try to understand what is mean by the hello. Okay, try to find the intent and entities, and it will go to the dialogue management. Actually, how that conversation flow will be decided, what will be the response generated, this complete thing considered as a dialogue management. And it, as I said in the initiation, it is the heart of the whole chatbot. If you are able to generate, because suppose if you are able to understand the query, but if you are not able to generate the right response, there is no point of doing or understanding that query, right? So this is something which is very important to generate the response in a proper way. Also, suppose you are going to ask the same thing again and again, and the board does not remember anything, then you will be frustrated after some time. But as a human, whenever we talk to someone, suppose I have talked to you right now, I'll remember it after some time as well. So there should be some memory also needed for the bot as well. That is called slot. Okay, where I'm just keeping it like what is being asked or what kind of questions is being asked to me before, and I can answer accordingly. In the layman terms, I can talk about this slot as a memory. Okay, so then it will go to the dialogue management, and this is the then the message will be generated. Here we have kept the API call is like it's not necessary that you have everything in your local system, that database also, and your model also in your local system. Sometimes if you are keeping everything on the server side, then you have to make the APIs call. API call, I think if you are aware of that, like how I think this is a very famous joke. If you guys have seen front-end developer, back-end developer, and the API calls. Have you guys like seen this before? That front end is like what we see whenever we go to a buffer, right? Like to eat something, that restaurant ambience, everything. And the backend is where they cook. It's completely messed up, but this is called backend. And the waiters are called APIs, because these are the people who are serving from backend to front end, from the backside of the restaurant to our front side in the restaurant, right? Similarly, API call is like which is connecting your databases to your users output, that is UI, that is called user interface, how it is being displayed. So every time whenever we are going to deploy any project, API calls are necessary to feed, to like take the user's input to the database and to answer the query to again to the user. Okay, so now there are 3 policies of a dialogue management that I said. Like I think in the initiation we had discussed that some people use a rule-based policies, some other machine learning based. So there are 3 ways to do it. One is the rule-based policies, where we are just trying to identify or match the patterns. That okay, that the particular word is there in my database. If there, then I'll answer relevant answer. I'll just feed up the relevant answer from the query. Second is the memorization policy, which checks that if current conversation matches with any of the stories in the your training data. I would say if something related to that is already there in my database that is being asked previously, or the something is similar, then I'll predict something on that sort. And the third one is the complete machine learning I'm using. Okay, so it is just a way of saying, I would say, fancy words. One second, someone asked one question. We will be using context variable for slots, right? Yeah, we are going to use that context variables. Context variable means what is being tasked. Like if I'm saying I have to order a paneer pizza for suppose. So what kind of pizza it will be? So that will be my slot where I'm going to feed that type of the pizza. Okay. So what is the next section? First, how that generally RASA framework works. First, it tries to find out, and not just RASA. Even if you are making something from your own, then also you have to follow this thing. I'll tell you the reason as well. So how it is being followed? First, you will try to check the rule if there is something like that already existing, and to check the rule-based conversation, you don't need to do anything. You just match the string that a user has asked and that string that is already in your database. So for that, you can use the Python regex functions as well. Second thing is the memorization policy. If something is not getting matched, then you can say that, okay, this is what is my similarity index, and this is matching with these words like this, and I can return the answer accordingly. The third is the TED policy. If that is also not working, then I am going to apply machine learning to predict the next section. Where when I'm saying is fallback, it means if some rule policy is not working, then I'll go to this, then I'll go to this. So can you please let me know if you are able to understand this thing, that why I'm not going directly from this to directly TED policy or the machine learning algorithm?
I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry. I guess it's related to each other. So if I'm okay with the rule, the first one, so it's fine to go to the other one.
But what, like if we are using machine learning, we could directly go from this to that. That will be easy. No, here I'm going through the 3 steps. Don't you think like that?
The compute time and the complexity will increase from each fallback, right? So when we see a rule, we can just set like, okay, for this, so this is the value. So it will be faster.
Yes.
When we go for memorization, again, we need to set up some architecture there.
Yes.
So when we fall back to machine learning, it will be a little bit complex.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. If you are calling the machine learning thing directly, it will be a little complex and time taking as well, because your word will go and then it will try to predict. Your machine learning model will run at the back end. Training might be done already, but maybe you have to predict that thing. That will take time. So if something which is completely rule based, it is like it will take microseconds to answer this question. So first we will try something which can give the faster response. Then we will go to the memorization policy. And people ask, like someone asked that what is the difference between rule policy and memorization policy. It's like suppose if you are saying, hi, how are you, then you are going to respond, I am fine, please let me know how can I help you. This is a fixed rule based question. Okay, there was fixed question and there was fixed answer. But suppose if someone is not saying hi, how are you, or I need a help or something like this, someone directly asks something else like hi, I'm talking about this. So in that also, that person has not directly asked the question what it is being asked. That person not greeted something. So I'll try to find something which is similar, which is where I'm just checking the similarity index of my focus word to the words that were present in my database. Or I'll give one more example. Suppose you are trying to find out the types of credit card, and in your database, credit card word is not there, only card word is there. So what will you do? You will try to match the similarity with the credit card to the word card that is in your database. And you will say, okay, this is quite similar, then I can return the result from that card as well. This is called memorization. Here also you have not used machine learning. Okay, because whatever you have fetched, it was already in your database. The only thing, you could not find it directly. You had to go with the indirect ways. And the third one is the TED policy, where you are using machine learning.
Hi Arpita, this is Praveen. I have a question.
Yeah.
So in rule-based algorithm, we have to iterate over all the rules, right? And if we have large number of rules, wouldn't the time for inference be smaller in machine learning algorithms than rule-based algorithms?
Yes, but in that case, there will be one more problem. Actually, it's not just about the time. First of all, if these are the too many rules, then definitely it will be a problem. But one more thing is how sure you can be that your machine learning algorithm will always be correct. If suppose you are working in an insurance company where so many insurance policies are there, and you have created a chatbot which can answer of all the policies, which is like for that person is eligible. Okay, so in that case, if you go with the rule based, okay, there are so many policies, like health insurance is different, and like life insurance is different, and the terms will be different. Okay, in that too many policies, but still there, if you go through the rule based system, the chances of accuracy will be very high, because there are fixed policies. You don't have to change anything. There is nothing to predict. In that case, no answer has to be formed, right?
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other? Okay. Okay, so as we had discussed, it's not so easy. Like, okay, try to identify or process the word, then understand, and then just generate the answer. There are lots of problems, and I'll show you those things. Like, first of all, different context may be there with a unique word. These are the problem actually from the technical side, or I would say NLP side, where we are trying to understand the language. Okay, so structural ambiguity, co-referencing, personality, intention, emotions, or sarcasm, lots of things. Okay, let me give you some examples here. So look, here you see treating the word bored is as a noun or verb. When you are trying to find the intent, it is important that what will be your verb, because based on that you will be able to find, right? So board can be considered as a blackboard, noun, or maybe board because you are boarding a train. Okay, so this is called lexical ambiguity. So this is a one challenge that we generally face when we process all the NLP text. Okay, second thing is the syntax level ambiguity. Like you can see the example, he lifted the beetle with the red cap. Okay, so did he use the cap to lift the beetle, or he lifted a beetle with that had red cap? It can be understood or interpreted in two ways. As a human, we might understand it through the context, okay, or maybe directly by understanding the sentence, but for a bot it is very difficult to understand. And to make them understand, we provide lots of data, we train the model. Okay, the third thing is like Rima went to Gauri, she said I am tired. Then who is she, Rima or Gauri? Okay, this is called referential ambiguity. So when we are going to send it to our machine learning model in NLP, it will consider as a two sentence, and it will be processed differently. Then it will be a problem to understand that she whom she is referred to. Okay, so this kind of challenges we face. And also you might be aware of that sarcasm is also a big problem. Sometimes, you know, there are few words which are coming together, and there is no meaning if they are considered separately. Then also we have to think, this is called profanity, like how these words are coming together, we have to consider as one only. That also we have to process. Second thing, suppose you are saying that strong coffee or strong muscles. Here the same word strong is being used, but one is for coffee, one is for muscles. Meaning is different in both the cases, right? So in that case, I have to consider both the words together to understand its proper meaning. So these are some challenges from NLP side. If we are not able to understand these words properly, then it will be a big problem. Then your user, like your bot, will be answering some questions completely random. Okay, that will not be correct. Another from the business side challenges we can see, like first of all, the security. Anyone can read the chat, and also it is not personal. Sometimes chats are personal, but it is not able to uh, store that information. Something like that can happen. Second thing is the personalization, as I mentioned, that multi-turn. Or also, let's suppose if I am talking to one of my friend, that person has its own way of answering or taking the problems, or like the way of conversation will be completely different from my another friend. Okay, so when I'm talking to a human, I can get this personalization. Every time whenever I face a problem, I go to my friend, one of my friend, and whenever I'm happy, I go to some other person. So it's like I know, because these personalization thing is there in both the conversation whenever I have, but in the bot it's not there. You will always be talking to some bot, then you will feel like you are talking to machine. There is no human touch will be there. Okay. Third thing is the data gathering. Again, as I mentioned, it's a very big challenge. Okay, to get the to gather the data. Reason is because we always need the data to specific domain. It's not possible to train our model with a general domain. Okay. Then rule based or domain based chatbot. You suppose you are working in a client based company, a service based company basically, and in that, you know what happens, you are making a bot which can be delivered to multiple clients, and your one client is from insurance domain, one client is banking domain, third is the food delivery partner. Okay, then if you are making the chatbot for them, definitely you have to make 3 chatbot which are trained on the different types of the data. It's not possible to make the general one. So in that, you can think about the resources consumed and the time taken by you. Okay, so this is again a challenge. And the no multi-turn, as I mentioned, you can't discuss anything with the bot. There is a specific direction that bot can follow. Okay, so that's all I wanted to discuss today, all these things. Now let me know if you guys have any doubts, any questions on this. Then tomorrow we will start discussing the NLP basic, how to do the text processing, what is word embeddings, and how to do the feature extraction, and how to build a classifier. Okay, and also some pre-trained model also we will discuss that are very good in NLP.